Los Angeles on a December Monday morning is a symphony of car horns, impending deadlines, and matcha smoothie spilled on a stranger's shirt. Haley Quinn, 28, internal communications associate at a major digital media firm, was not built for mornings. If she had a choice, she'd curl under a blanket with a bag of chips, scrolling Reddit memes, rather than face real life before noon. But today wasn't like any other. She was 17 minutes late for a mandatory presence meeting, and her manager had already pinged her on Slack 3 times. Her cheap boots slipped on the sidewalk, her thin jacket did nothing against the chill, and her only lifeline was the hot matcha latte trembling in her hand. Just get to the office without spilling anything. That's a win, Haley muttered, breath clouding in the frosty air. But fate, as always, had other plans. She burst into the Hollywood headquarters with messy hair and mascara-smudged eyes, just as the elevator doors slid open. Inside, a sea of pressed suits, polished shoes, and emotionless faces glued to their phones. Haley squeezed in, carefully balancing her matcha. But just as the elevator jolted slightly, someone behind her bumped into her back, and then, splosh. The cup flew like a firework. Most of its contents landed on the pristine white shirt of the man directly in front of her. "Oh my God!" Haley yelped, reaching out instinctively to wipe it. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. The man turned around. Time slowed. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dark brown hair neatly styled, and his steel-gray eyes locked on her like she had just set the building ablaze. His shirt was now smeared with pale green from collar to waist. He said nothing, just stood there like a statue, personally offended by chaos. "Fantastic," Haley muttered, half panicked, half sarcastic. "I'm now a living blender." She dug through her bag for a tissue, only to pull out a lint-covered candy wrapper. Would this help?" she offered weakly. He raised an eyebrow, still silent. A few people chuckled. Most avoided eye contact, pretending to scroll through apps. When the elevator reached the 25th floor, Haley bolted like a fire alarm had gone off, face burning. Back at her desk, before she could even log into her laptop, a message from HR popped up. "Haley Quinn, Executive Boardroom, 30th floor. Now." She swallowed hard. The 30th floor, where only the execs and board members dwelled. "I'm dead. Matcha killed my career," she whispered. What she didn't know was the man she just doused in green wasn't just a stranger. He was Chase Donovan, the brand new CEO starting his first day. An elevator can rise quickly, but Haley's heart rate rose even faster. She stood outside the glass-walled boardroom on the 30th floor, the executive zone, hands tightly clasped, head spinning. Less than an hour ago, she had turned a well-dressed man into a live-action matcha mural, and now she was about to face him again. The door opened. The room was wide and bright, with a long wooden table and rich brown leather chairs. Outside, Los Angeles gleamed under the sun, but inside, it felt as cold as a courtroom. Sitting at the head of the table was that man, now in a fresh white shirt, no trace of matcha, a sculpted face, and unreadable eyes. "Haley Quinn?" he asked, voice deep and even. "That's me," she replied, taking the seat across from him, heart pounding. He opened his laptop without looking at her. "I'm Chase Donovan, new CEO. Today's my first day." Haley nodded. "And I kicked it off with a beverage incident." He glanced up. Was that a flicker of a smile? Or was she hallucinating? "No harm," he said, tone unreadable, forgiving or filing it away. "I didn't call you here to reprimand you," he added. "I have a job offer." Her eyes widened. "A job?" "We're launching a rebranding initiative next week. I need someone from internal comms to assist directly. Someone who understands the team, knows how to communicate, and isn't afraid to get messy." He looked at her with something close to amusement. "I'm choosing you, Haley." "Wait, me? After I matcha bombed you?" "Precisely. Others panic. You stayed upright." With a linty candy wrapper as backup. Haley gave an awkward laugh. A proud resume bullet. Chase shut his laptop. 3 months. Temporary creative assistant. Can you start this week? Yeah, she nodded, barely believing this was real. On her way back down, Haley couldn't process how she felt. Relieved? Nervous? Mildly electrocuted? She texted Eli. Haley, just got asked to join a special project by the new CEO. Eli, what? Tell me it's not Mr. Matchestain. Haley, yeah, Chase Donovan. Eli, girl, from train wreck to executive assistant in 60 minutes. That's faster than Twitter drama. Haley, he said, I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. Eli, sounds flirty. Haley, no, he's colder than my freezer, not possible. But deep down, Holly knew that look Chase gave her wasn't strictly professional. When she returned to her desk, people gave her curious glances. No one knew what had happened, but it was clear Matcha Girl had emerged from the top floor, smiling. Haley sat, opened her laptop. An email pinged in from Chase Donovan. Subject, Project, The New Pulse. First line, let's see if chaos can be an asset. She exhaled, smirked, and whispered, oh God, I just got hired for being a disaster. The first week as temporary assistant to the CEO felt like a fever dream. Haley had imagined she'd sit in meetings, jot notes, tweak a PowerPoint or two, and politely smile. Instead, she was deep in a war zone of deadlines, decks, and caffeine. Day one, Chase asked her to bring documents into the boardroom. She walked in, balancing a thick stack of papers in one arm and a green kale smoothie in the other, courtesy of Eli, who insisted, green fuel is brain fuel. She placed the stack on the table. The smoothie tipped, spilled, pooled, flowed over the edge. A bright green stream stretched onto Chase's blazer sleeve. No, no, please, no, Haley gasped, grabbing tissues like a panicked EMT, but each swipe only made it worse. Chase stared at her, silent, cold, his eyes calculating whether to replace her with AI. I swear I didn't mean to matcha-bomb you twice, she whimpered. He pulled out a handkerchief, wiped his sleeve, and muttered, you've got a talent for turning me into abstract art, Harper. Next time, leave beverages outside. She nodded furiously and fled the room, texting Eli mid-run. Haley, I just spilled kale smoothie on the CEO. Again. Eli, are you a human canvas now? Haley, they're gonna hang me in MoMA next week. Day 3, she joined a project Zoom call. Her job? Take notes. Things were going smoothly until... Grumpy Chase is probably counting down to fire me, she mumbled, forgetting her mic was on. Silence. Chase looked into the camera. Grumpy Chase? She froze. No, I didn't. I mean... He said nothing, turned off his video, continued the meeting like nothing happened. Later, Eli texted. Eli, you called the CEO Grumpy Chase on Zoom? Haley, I'm so fired. Ellie, nah, he probably laughed, unless he's blocking you right now. Haley wasn't sure, but the next day, when she passed Chase in the hallway, he nodded. Barely, but definitely. After that, something odd started happening. Every time Haley messed up, dropped papers, lost internet mid-presentation, set her laptop on fire, Chase was somehow there, instantly. He's like chaos GPS, Eli joked. Wherever you goof up, he materializes. Maybe I just mess up too much, Haley muttered. Then came Friday. Haley ordered lunch, pizza for the team as an apology for a week of chaos. But she mistyped the floor, pizza, ended up in finance. She sprinted to the 18th floor like it was on fire, only to find Chase holding a pizza box, mid-bite, surrounded by stunned finance employees. This yours? He asked, raising a brow as she panted in. Yeah, I meant to send it to floor 22. I'm sorry, It's fine, he said, handing her the box. I only took one slice. Quality control. Haley carried the box back like sacred cargo and told Eli like she'd just met Bigfoot. He ate pizza, she whispered. Salad guy ate pizza? You broke him, Eli howled. Haley smiled faintly, glancing toward Chase's office. Maybe she was chaos. But maybe he didn't mind. Friday morning, just as Haley was trying not to drop a box of donuts in the meeting room, Chase walked in wearing a long gray coat and his usual unreadable face. "Harper, pack your things. We're flying to Chicago tonight. Marketing conference. 2 days?" She almost dropped the box. "Wait, what?" "Tickets are booked. Check-in's at 7. Bring your laptop," he said, then left as casually as if he'd asked her to grab coffee, not fly across the country with the CEO. December in Chicago was bone-chilling. The wind off Lake Michigan sliced through coats and reason. Haley wrestled her jammed-wheeled suitcase, hair flying in chaos. Chase walked beside her like he was on a spring stroll. His gray coat was wrinkle-free, his leather bag sleek and unbothered. At the downtown hotel, the receptionist checked their booking and gave an apologetic smile. "I'm so sorry. We only have one double room left. Everything else is booked." Haley blinked. "One room? As in, both of us?" Chase didn't flinch. "Is that a problem?" "No, I mean, it's fine, totally fine," she said, too fast, her heart thudding like a car alarm. He nodded, grabbed the key, and walked ahead like nothing was awkward. The room was small but cozy, with one big bed, a sofa, and a window overlooking the city. Haley dropped her bag, scanning the room like danger might leap out of the floorboards. "I'll take the sofa," Chase said, hanging up his coat with exact precision. "You take the bed." "I can, Harper," he looked at her, tone final, "not up for debate. I sleep anywhere." She sighed and climbed onto the bed. He opened his laptop and started working as if they were in an office. Later, Haley peeked into the minibar. "Want a drink?" Chase looked up. "Planning to spill it on me again?" She laughed. "Not this time, I swear." She pulled out 2 mini wine bottles, handing one to him. "A truce after the week we've had." He took it, sat straighter. "All right." They sat across from each other, she on the bed, he on the sofa, clinked bottles, and took a sip. Haley leaned back. The wine loosened the air between them. "Have you ever done something dumb? You always seem unshakable." Chase looked at her. A real smile tugged at his lips, rare and honest. "They called me Spaghetti Boy for a year." "No way." "Age 25, first shareholder meeting. Spilled marinara on my white shirt." "Oh my God," Haley laughed, doubling over. "Okay, I once got attacked by pigeons, wore a sunflower print top. They thought I was breakfast." Chase laughed, a short, deep sound that surprised her. "You really are a chaos system." "You always talk about patterns," she tilted her head. "You don't believe in luck." "I believe in what's predictable, but you're a variable." He looked at her, and this time his gaze wasn't cold. It was warm, sincere, real. Her heart stuttered. She smiled. "So, truth or dare?" Chase raised an eyebrow, then nodded, and the game began. After Chicago, something between Haley and Chase shifted. They didn't talk about it. No one mentioned mini wine bottles, truth or dare, or the way he'd looked at her that night. But their interactions changed, charged, quiet, like an unfinished sentence hanging between them. And then, in true Haley fashion, everything started to fall apart. Monday morning, as she walked into the office, she felt it. The stares. Not the usual, "Oh, there goes Haley again" looks. These were sharp, whispered, judgmental. Eli texted instantly. Eli, "Heard the rumor yet?" Haley, "No." "What?" Eli, "People say you seduced the CEO to get promoted." Haley. Eli, "Whole marketing floor's buzzing? One girl plus one hotel room? You get the idea." Haley froze. She hadn't kissed Chase, hadn't slept with him, hadn't done anything wrong. But to outsiders, it was too strange. A clumsy nobody suddenly handpicked by the CEO? She checked her phone. New message from Chase. "Chase, urgent meeting, 30th floor, 10:00 a.m. The boardroom felt colder than usual. A few senior managers, a shareholder rep, and Chase. He wasn't unreadable this time. He looked tense. The silver-haired shareholder began, "Ms. Harper, you were the last to edit last week's strategic document before it leaked online." Haley swallowed. "I saved the final version on our internal server." "I didn't share it with anyone." "How convenient," he sneered, "especially given your closeness to the CEO." Her face flushed. "I didn't." "Enough," Chase cut in, calm, stern. Silence. He turned to Haley, his eyes held no warmth, no trace of the man from Chicago. "We'll investigate," he said. "Miss Harper, you may leave." Something inside her cracked, louder than any accusation. Haley stood, heart a rock in her chest. As she left, she heard the shareholder mutter, "We need to protect the company's image, Donovan. She's a liability." The door closed, her chest tightened. He had stayed silent. Against the rumors, against the doubts, against the shame she swallowed in that room. She went to her desk, opened her laptop, and typed, "Resignation." That night, Eli showed up at her apartment with chips and soda. Haley opened the door, eyes red, hair wild. "I don't want to talk." "You can't quit over stupid rumors," Eli said, setting the bag down. "I know you didn't do anything." "It's not just the rumors." Haley's voice cracked. "It's Chase. He knew I was innocent. He knew. And he stayed silent. Let me take it alone." Eli sat, quiet. "Maybe he's under pressure from the board exec." "I don't care," Haley snapped. "I trusted him. I thought, after Chicago, he was different. I was wrong." She turned away. "Go home, Eli. I need space." Rain tapped the windows like a quiet metronome. Haley sat curled on the couch, clutching a pillow, staring into nowhere. Memories blurred, hotel laughter, his gaze. "You're a variable." Then the doorbell rang. Haley frowned. It was nearly 11 p.m. Who? She opened the door. Chase Donovan stood there, soaked in the rain. "Harper," he said, voice low, shivering. "Can I come in?" Haley stepped aside, letting Chase into her small, rain-scented apartment. His coat was soaked, hair plastered to his forehead. But his eyes, the ones she thought she'd never see again, still held something steady. Honest, and maybe regretful. "I know you think I left you alone," he said as she shut the door. "No." "You did leave me," she answered, voice tight. "You knew I didn't leak that document. You could have said something, anything, but you didn't." "I know," he nodded, eyes downcast. "It traced it. A glitch. Not human error. It wasn't you." Her eyes widened. "Then why stay silent?" Chase looked up. "Because I was scared. The board wanted someone to blame. If I defended you, they'd turn on both of us. I thought silence would protect you, but clearly I was wrong." "You were," she whispered. A pause. "I didn't need protection," she said softly. "I needed to be trusted. I trusted you, and when you said nothing, I felt completely alone." Chase inhaled deeply. "I'm sorry." His voice was quiet, sincere. Not the CEO tone, but the voice of someone trying not to lose what mattered. "You were right in Chicago," he said. "You're a variable. I've spent my life in logic, timelines, and control. But you made me want to break all of it. I don't want to lose you. Not just for work." Haley's heart squeezed. She didn't know what to say. She felt everything at once, anger, relief, and something warmer. He looked at her, his blue-grey eyes no longer cold. "If you come back, don't do it for me. Come back because you deserve to. Because your chaos, it's what this company needs." 3 days later, Haley walked back into the office. This time, not silently, but head high. The entire internal team clapped. Eli ran to her like an excited puppy. "She's back," he shouted. "Reverse luck queen rises again." Haley laughed, shaking her head. Sarah from HR appeared, holding an envelope. "Welcome back, Haley. Here's your official notice. You've been appointed head of internal creative. Mr. Donovan signed it himself." Everyone stared. Eli whispered, "Twitter could never." Haley opened the envelope. The letter was formal, crisp, and powerful, but in her heart she heard one thing. He kept his word. Days later, the kickoff meeting for the rebrand project happened on the 22nd floor. Haley stood up and pitched the concept, a campaign called Beautiful Mess, celebrating imperfection, failure, and chaos as sources of creativity. "We're always hiding mistakes," she said. "But what if we shared them? What if we inspired through them? I don't want a campaign about perfection. I want one that's real people, real stories." Silence. Then, applause, growing louder. Chase, seated at the end, nodded, eyes bright. "Approved," he said, "and Harper will lead it." For the first time, Haley wasn't seen as the clumsy girl, but as a leader. She still tripped, still spilled pens, still mixed up slides. But now she turned it into power. Chase started drinking lattes with sugar. Eli started calling him salad guy openly on Slack. Chase sent Eli an actual salad with a note, "Try this, brain fuel." Eli replied with an XL pizza. Haley stood in the middle, laughing until she cried. She realized chaos wasn't a burden anymore, it was her style. Friday evening, as the office emptied out, Chase walked to her desk holding 2 matcha lattes. "No spilling this time," he said, handing her one. "Unless it gets me another proposal," he added, teasingly. Haley grinned. "I've been training for it." He didn't walk away right away. "Harper," he said gently, "this campaign, it's going to turn heads, and I'm glad you're the one who started it." Haley looked at him. No anger, just something quiet, shared. "Thanks for not giving up," she said. He nodded. And in that moment, without saying it, they both knew. That nod, that look, it was enough. 1 year after the Beautiful Mess campaign, Haley Quinn was no longer the girl who spilled matcha on the CEO in the elevator. She was now the head of internal creative, a champion of transparency, and one of the featured faces in the company's 10 Most Inspiring Stories docuseries. Under her lead, employees started writing blogs about their own failures, sending wrong client emails, crying in bathrooms after bad presentations, and something surprising happened. Truth spread faster than perfection. The company stood out in the market not because of its flawless strategy, but because it dared to share what was real. At the end of the year, when HR asked Haley where she wanted the year-end party, she only said, "On the rooftop," because she wanted to end the year exactly where everything had started. That night, Los Angeles glowed below, and the rooftop shimmered with warm lights, floral decor, and soft jazz humming through Bluetooth speakers. Haley arrived early to check the setup: mic, mini cupcakes, folding chairs. She wore a deep red dress that brushed her ankles, her hair in a loose updo, lipstick to match. Eli showed up last, carrying 3 gift bags and a Christmas hat with blinking LEDs. "You're seriously wearing that all night?" Haley laughed. "Of course, gotta reflect our team's brilliance," he said, pointing to the flashing lights. Haley paused, soaking in the scene. Colleagues laughing, departments mingling that never used to, and a small stage in the center waiting for her. She was no longer the one who caused chaos, then fled. She was the one who faced it and led through it. "Good evening," Haley began, gripping the mic with a steady hand. All eyes turned to her. Her smile lit the corner of the rooftop. "Exactly 1 year ago, I stood here, accidentally stole the mic, and accidentally roasted my boss in front of everyone." Laughter rippled through the crowd. "And miraculously, I'm still here, not fired, not sued, and somehow trusted to lead the company's biggest campaign." A few claps rose from the back. "But the real reason I'm up here tonight is because I wasn't alone. I was allowed to stumble, even publicly, and still be heard." Haley took a breath, her eyes scanning familiar faces. Sarah from HR, Jamal from IT, Tanya, who once feared speaking up, now sitting front row, waving encouragingly. I hope next year every one of you gets to share your story, even the unfinished ones, because from our fragments we make something greater. This time the applause was stronger, long and warm. Haley nodded, about to step off, when a second mic clicked on behind her. Harper. That voice, calm, deep, and slightly unsteady. She turned. Chase Donovan was walking up to the stage. The rooftop fell silent. No one had seen the CEO appear without announcement, and definitely not without a slide deck. Chase wore a crisp white shirt, a charcoal coat, and no laptop. He held only a folded piece of paper. "I'm Chase Donovan," he began, CEO and former victim of matcha latte in an elevator. The rooftop roared with laughter. "I used to think everything in business needed a plan. Roadmaps, KPIs, risk matrices. Then someone walked in with a kale smoothie, a lint-covered napkin, and a nervous, 'I'm really sorry.' And every plan I had, it fell apart." Haley blushed. The crowd laughed even harder. "But in that unraveling, I found something I never knew I was missing." Chase turned to her. His voice softened but grew stronger. "I don't just want you on the next campaign. I want every campaign with you." Haley froze. "No more plans, no more calendars. Just me and you and maybe some lattes, spilled or not." He knelt down, pulling a small box from his coat pocket. Dropped to one knee. A collective gasp echoed around them. Phones appeared. Eli stood frozen, mouth wide open. "Haley Quinn," Chase said, eyes never leaving hers, "will you make this chaos forever?" In that moment, every sound disappeared. Haley heard her heartbeat, loud, steady, and she laughed. Through tears. "Yes," she whispered, then louder. "Yes." Applause erupted like fireworks. Sarah sobbed. Eli screamed, "I knew it!" Chase stood, slipped the ring on her finger, and pulled her into a hug. Under twinkle lights, surrounded by cheers, in a city glittering far below. Years later, in her home office, she kept one item framed above her desk, the first napkin, the cat hair-covered one used to mop up matcha. Beneath it was a single engraved line. It started with a spill, it ended with forever. 3 months after the rooftop proposal, Haley still had a talent for spilling absolutely everything. She dropped her phone into a bowl of soup, typed the wrong password 5 times, and accidentally sent a thank you email to the entire company instead of just the marketing team. Subject line, "You are the light in my deadline tunnel." Chase's reply, "The company's glowing now." Instead of being embarrassed, Haley started printing those little mishaps and taping them to a wall in the office. She called it the wall of oops. Laugh at it before anyone else does. Eli added a full album of fail selfies from meeting rooms. Sarah contributed a weird event of the month bingo board. One day, during an exec meeting, Chase walked in, holding his usual latte and an old photo. Haley recognized it instantly. The elevator shot from their first encounter, her hand mid-spill. "We should run a new campaign," he said. "Call it Spill Happens." The room burst into laughter. Haley looked at him, the same eyes, but warmer now, filled with gratitude and maybe excitement. "Who's leading that campaign?" she asked, tilting her head. Chase raised a brow. "Only the most qualified." "Eli? Second most?" Haley laughed, loud and bright. No one knew what the next campaign would look like. No one was sure what the future held. But they all knew one thing. When chaos is the starting point, the ending can be anything beautiful.